Carrington event.
Yes.
I'm going to say that wrong. I don't know why that is a tongue twister for me, but it seems to be. The Carrington event.
Yes.
Am I saying that right?
Yeah, Carrington.
Okay. We were kind of talking about this, and this is like kind of my wheelhouse a little bit because it's a weird science-y phenomenon that did something that hopefully we don't see again. We've seen in small amounts, but the odd thing about this one was that how great and strong and powerful it was.
Right.
So it's basically, we believe it was started by a coronal mass ejection. So basically a big like sun flare kind of thing. But it created like a solar storm that hit Earth, and it screwed with all kinds of stuff. And this is not just something that like happens right away. It went on for months. And the peak of it seemed to be either the 1st or the 2nd in September in 1859. One of the things it did was, like the Northern Lights. Well, basically, you can normally only see them during a certain part of the year in the far in the northern sky. I think we're here in Michigan. At this level, you can see them once in a while if they're very strong, but normally you can't. During the event, you could see them anywhere on the planet, which is just
that's insane.
Massively screwed up.
Right.
But the other thing is there's all kinds of reports of like, I want to call them like telegraph operator booths or buildings or whatever. But basically, around this point is when we were really using this technology, and we had strung wires all over the place. And a large solar storm is going to create a massive like magnetic disturbance. And it basically caused fires and people to get shocked and electrocuted. And there was even a story where an operator in Boston was talking to an operator in, I believe it was like Portland, Maine. And generally, to run the telegraph, they would connect batteries up to run for the power. Both sides disconnected their batteries, and the telegraph still operated. They said it was a little intermittent.
Oh, wow.
And power seemed to fluctuate, but it did not stop. And they were getting better results with their batteries disconnected, because with their batteries connected, they were overloading the circuits, and they were having issues with like insulators and equipment and their magnets. They were just being overpowered, and things were getting forced on and stuck on, and they couldn't shut things down. And their communications were getting like what would you call it? Like muddled almost. Like they weren't coming through clearly. Just imagine if something like that happened today.
Oh, yes.
Because back then, what our most advanced technology, at least electronically, or at least electronic technology, was probably the telegraph.
Right.
And it got screwed up.
Yeah.
And nowadays, everything operates off of technology.
Right. Yeah.
I mean, we can't do anything. I mean, first of all, we're all glued to our phones.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
And the communication between them, that would get taken down. Not to mention, none of us seem to be able to survive without electricity. That for sure would get annihilated. The power grid would fail. I mean, there are ways to safeguard against some of this stuff. Like the military has some things that are hardened for like an electromagnetic pulse that you can get from like detonating a nuclear weapon in the atmosphere. So I would think that some of those types of things would survive, but our technology that's not hardened would definitely not survive. I was reading on one of these websites that they said if the event that happened in 1859, the Carrington event, happened now in modern days, just in the United States, it would cause between 600 billion and 1.2 trillion dollars worth of damage just to the United States.
Oh, wow. That is crazy.
I mean, because if you think like, not only like normal commerce could be shut down, and transportation and shipping and all of that.
True. Yeah.
Because I mean, even if all the cars run on gas, the lights are out, the bridges are out. You know, we can't raise and lower drawbridges and things like that. And then communication down, so you know you can't communicate. And then past that, like financial markets would be out. It would be
that would be huge.
I mean, it would be an end of the world, not in the fact like an Armageddon that would just we'd all die.
Yeah.
But it would be devastating.
Yeah, it would. Yeah, it would. Because that's not like that's not a situation where it's like you know, power's out, you gotta wait a few hours and power comes back on. Like those things are done.
Well, it would. A lot of stuff would be damaged very badly. It's not like we wouldn't be able to rebuild, but the issue is while we're trying to repair and rebuild things, a lot of what we think is normal right now will just have to be put on the side for us just to survive long enough to make it through to the other side.
Yeah.
And during that, I mean, we saw disruptions and stuff during the pandemic that caused prices and things to rise and kind of screwed with global markets. An event like this would be way worse.
Oh yeah. And even though we don't really experience like solar flares like that, but you know, that could be something that would, you know, that could just shut us down. You know, that's not even like destroying people or property. You know, I mean, like a direct hit or something. That's just, goes to like the heart of what we do.
I mean, this event took place over over months.
Yeah.
So if something like that happened right now, it's not even like in the event of like a man-made, you know, destruction. You know, if we did something, it would be generally like a war. It would be more directed into one area, but this would just blast the entire planet.